Bootlegs. Figures are often replicating previously existing figures that are oftentimes sold illegally. Now, I have gotten like a few dinosaurs from this company called Kid Galaxy, which is kind of notorious for making bootleg dinosaurs. I mean, I don't know if they're the most notorious company per se, but they definitely make their fair share of bootlegs. Like, for example, the React Attacks from 2001, they've been bootlegged by Kid Galaxy. And even some other obscure figures, which I don't know if they've actually done yet, but we'll find out. So in this collection I have 7 figures from Kid Galaxy, and that's a paint pile. And we're going to be taking a look at all these figures one by one. So let's start off with the Schleichania. So I'm assuming this figure is meant to be the Schleichania, a kind of ankylosaurid, because it is a bootleg of the old Schleichania from like the early 2010s, I believe, 2012 maybe. I'm not sure when it released. But Schleich hasn't made a Schleichania since, at least not to my knowledge. And it's been bootlegged in this hunk of garbage. So all Kid Galaxy dinosaurs have a very basic range of articulation. They usually only ever have 360 rotations in their body parts. Like, for example, the head here rotates a full 360, and the legs can move, and the tails can full 360. Now, usually the qualities on these things are a bit of a mix. Sometimes the joints can be really loose, like how the head is on my Schleichania for some reason. And other times the joints can be moderately tight, like how the legs are. And overall, I don't really like how this thing looks. I mean, the dark green, I'm assuming, at least I know this area, the head is dark green, but I'm assuming this is dark green, although it looks more black in person. And the orange, I just, ugh. And they tried dry brushing over the scales, which, I mean, I guess they did a decent job at, but it doesn't really change the fact that this thing just is terrible in every way, shape, or form. So, yeah, let's move on to the next figure. Now, this is the Archaeopteryx, or known as the Urvagel in its German name. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry, people! Now, I don't know if this thing was actually bootlegged by anything. It might have not. I'm not sure. I'd have to scour on the internet to see if this thing was bootlegged. But, I mean, as far as I know, it probably isn't. It's just their own original sculpt. But anyways, this figure has a joint of the jaw and a rotating neck. The arms can move up and down, and that's really about it. Some of them, one of the arms here, this one in particular, is just really loose. I don't know what's going on. Legs can move. They can't really rotate a full 360 because of how the thing is sculpted. And the tail rotates a full 360. Now overall, I think this thing is like the most accurate animal that we've gotten from Kid Galaxy, which is surprising considering that they make children's toys that are ripping off of actual, like, figures, which is fairly accurate because Archaeopteryx may have actually been black. There's a 95% chance that it was. Although its quirks is just lies within the arms. It's the hands, really. Because, I mean, yes, while the company doesn't really make the most accurate dinosaurs, they could have at least made the wrist. They could have at least made this other finger hidden within the wing. But that would have looked too good. So let's move on to the next figure. And we're just going to set that aside. Oh boy, where do I begin with this one? So some of us may know the company Adventure Force, where they make pretty much the toys that you find at Walmart that aren't like really branded per se, but about around 4 years ago they made these like Schleich related models which are really terrible. And they made a Dilophosaurus which was very reminiscent of this one, and then about 4 years later, this thing was made. And oh boy, it is genuinely one of the worst things I had ever laid my eyes upon. Like, oh my goodness, I mean, what were they doing in there? And this thing is designed horribly. I mean, it can't even close its jaw. Like, this is the max closing range. Unless you do that, in which it's forced a little bit, but it's just, it can't close its jaw properly. It's designed in a way in which it's just, I don't even know. But, as per usual, the head rotates and the arms move up and down, and so can the legs. And the tail. And also, at least have some kind of product consistency. I mean, like, most of this body is just like a redder version of this color right here, except this leg right here is the same color as the body, which, what is going on here? I don't want to look at this thing anymore. Let's get it out of here. Now, this figure is better than the Dilophosaurus, but it's certainly not the best. This figure is a knockoff, likely based off of one of the old Schleich Raptors from like 2012, I believe. I don't know when the old Schleich Raptor was released, but it got bootlegged several times. It even got bootlegged by the people that make Animal Planet toys. Just like, what? What's so special about this? And you want to know what's funny? It doesn't even have the sickle claw. You're not a raptor. You're just a fraud. So this figure has the same problem with the Dilophosaurus, except this time it's a little bit worse. Like, this is in the max jaw range. At least with the Dilophosaurus, which I threw away in the trash, had probably a little bit more, but I mean, who knows, honestly. And, yeah, unless you, of course, force it, which it gives you a little bit more range, but not really the true range that it's meant to have. But anyways, as per usual, the head can rotate, the arms can rotate, legs can rotate. For some reason it's sculpted weirdly, in which there's a little gap right here, but there's no gaps here for some reason. Who knows? And this is arguably the loosest figure that I have in terms of tails, because this thing is just... And it doesn't even align properly with it, like... Oh, I almost forgot about the side chain here. Now here's a Rheogosaurus, which is... It's okay, really. Nothing too special. I don't actually know if it's bootlegged off of anything. Like, if you look up Rheogosaurus toy, you're gonna get results with this figure. But, yeah, this thing just has the jaw articulation, and spinning neck, and the movable arms, and the legs, and the tail as per usual. And overall, it's pretty good. It's pretty basic, just being a green figure with some black spots on it, along with a dark brown back, or dark gray. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be dark gray or dark brown, but who knows. But yeah, this figure is just pretty decent, and yeah, there's not really much to say about this thing. So yeah. Well, this is going to be a fun one. So, the Papo T-Rex is arguably one of the most famous dinosaur models, being featured in like every single poster for some sort of pop culture film, being featured in every single toy box that's not licensed by anybody per se. And yeah, there's two versions of the Papo Rex. We got this one where it's kind of in a sitting stance, and we got the running T-Rex. And this one is a bootleg of the Papo running T-Rex. And I gotta say, I think they did a worse job here with this one. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any of the Papo T-Rexes at all, but I got this thing, and this thing is, yeah, it's very small, I gotta say. These figures are usually, like, in a very small size range, like about 10 inches long and 4 inches tall, I believe. But, yeah, so basically this figure, it's got the jaw articulation. This one has a really loose jaw for some reason. I mean, sometimes it holds its place whenever you have it closed a bit far, but not open that wide. It's got the usual rotating neck, and it's got the arms that move up and down, and the legs and the tail, which looks very weird for some reason. I don't know what the heck they did with the tail here, but they made her look really weird. Now, one thing's for sure is this figure is really green, and the Papo Running Rex, it's a bit lighter than this one, but I mean, overall, this figure is just, it's okay. It's certainly not the best figure made by Kid Galaxy, like, at all, which that one's coming up pretty shortly. But yeah, so that's the knockoff Papo Running Rex toy. So let's move on to the last one. Yo babe, wake up. Kid Galaxy just released a new Dimetrodon mold. So this Dimetrodon is not Kid Galaxy's first Dimetrodon. In fact, it's probably its third one, or second one, depending on when the other one released. So for the first one, we got just this weird little Dimetrodon mold. It was brown with darker brown spots on it. And then later on, we ended up getting the same mold, but with these colors. And then later on, or maybe... And then maybe later on, or after the first Dimetrodon, we've just gotten straight up a ripped version of the Schleich Dimetrodon. And I gotta tell you, man, this figure is huge. And if you want to know how huge it was, here it is compared to the Schleich Dimetrodon. God damn, bro, what has he done to you? Now, this figure is pretty much just yellow with some blue on it, which is nothing like the actual Schleich Dimetrodon. This one is clearly ripped from the 2019 Schleich Dimetrodon, I want to say. But, yeah, the older one was lime green, not yellow. But anyways, this figure is okay. I mean, it may just be the best Kid Galaxy figure that they've released so far. The sail is a bit tall, though. I don't know if the sail should be this tall. I mean, it was pretty tall on the Schleich figure, but, I mean, I don't know about this one. Plus, there's no, like, extra sail right here, like how the Schleich Dimetrodon has. And also, the jaw actually does look a bit better in a cosmic sort of way. Yes, it can't close its mouth all the way, because, I mean, it's a Kid Galaxy figure. What do you expect from it? But at least it doesn't look like this. So, maybe you were right to kick him off. Let's go fight, boys! Wait, hold on, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Stop it! Stop! Stop! Stop it! Stop! Now, the paint on the teeth, it's either golden or orange, but either way, bro really needs to get a dentist. But anyway, so the mouth can close and open, like that. There's no neck articulation this time because the neck is far too short, and yeah. The legs can rotate a little bit, not... Some of them can rotate full 360s, barely. Meanwhile, this one really can't because of because of the sheer undulation in its body. Now, one thing I do gotta say, the tail does feel awfully short, but that's also a problem on the Schleich Dimetrodon. This thing feels more like a lizard rather than like a mammal-like reptile, which these things are mammal-like reptiles. They're not dinosaurs. So, yeah. But, you may be wondering, why did I get all these things? I had these two for a little while. I bought all these 5 figures in a lot recently, like, last week, as I'm making this video. Mainly because I wanted to find the dimetrodon, I just wanted it. And what made me make this video was Andy's dinosaur reviews video on these figures that they've released, where it had the dimetrodon in it, and that's what led me trying to find it in the first place. And it also had the Papo Running Rex knockoff. I don't remember if it was either this exact one, like this green one, or if it was a different colored one, but, I mean, the thumbnail is going to be shown, so, I mean, you're going to figure out either way. But, I just wanted to find this thing solo because, I mean, it's kind of cool. But this was the only other listing I could find of them, and luckily the listing was actually pretty cheap at around like $10. Sorry. It was around like $10. So, I got all these things for essentially $2 a pop. And I feel bad that I wasted $2 on this thing. Hey, wait a minute, how did you guys escape the garbage? But anyways, guys, that's about it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye. Oh, before we go, I actually just found the 6-pack with the dimetrodon in it on bjswholesale.com. God damn it!